Today, I'm going to share one of my favorite delt finishers with you so that you can maximize and get a little bit more burn and muscle intensification before you close out your workout. Let's go. What's going on? Welcome back to another episode of That Guy Health. And today we are going to be talking about one of my favorite things to do, combination of exercises, a superset, call it whatever you want. I call it a finisher. I typically do this finisher on my back chest feeder days towards the end to basically bring in a little bit more burn intensification and work away at these caps. As you know, I do compete, and when you're competing, delts, back work is important, all right? So with that being said, we're gonna roll into this. If you do need personal training, online coaching, a fitness plan, a meal plan, you can go to www.thatguyhealth.com, website right there. Also, I will be reviewing these two BCAAs by Core Nutritional. I already have a channel dedicated, has plenty of reviews on the flavors that you may want to try, may not want to buy your first time up. And I also will give you a discount code in those videos to get money off of your order anytime you purchase through them. So that is an extra plus. But let's go ahead and roll into this finisher. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up the video and I'm going to talk you through it to let you know what I'm doing and hopefully maybe sometimes explain why I'm doing it. You know, some of the things that may not be so obvious so that you can get a clearer understanding of why I do it. And if you have any ideas or any of your own little wrinkles that you add in your workout that may benefit us all here in the community, definitely comment below, leave those little wrinkles, ask questions. Us getting involved as a fitness community is what's going to help us all progress and grow. So let's go in here. What I'm doing here is a bilateral movement, and it's going to be an anterior front delt raise. A slight degree, as you could tell, a little bit still kind of some slide degree in there, and that's to bring in the lateral and the anterior delt. And I do that to hit and penetrate both muscle groups. Then I will switch into a unilateral front delt raise. I reverse my grip, palm up to the ceiling. It's a unilateral, working one limb at a time. Once I get my reps completed on that one side, I will then switch over to the other side. I like this way, more of a pressing up versus pulling this way. I feel like I can transfer more intensity into the front delt when you reverse your grip facing your palm upward. I can really isolate that front delt more instead of bringing in the lateral delt versus the anterior delt, okay? So once I get out of this move, I will then resituate myself, and now we'll move into a unilateral delt raise, okay? Unilateral lateral delt raise is what it be called. That's a tongue twister. And this movement right here, if you could tell, there's less degree of angle coming toward the anterior delt, more on the lateral. And also, if you pay a little bit more attention, I do have more range of motion, and I'm kind of pushing outward, and I'm pushing outward that way because I want to decrease the amount of percentage that the trap may put in this movement. I do have some techniques that I use to also isolate the delt and remove some of that trap engagement, and I'll show you those on a later video. Right here, I'm doing a compound movement. I am transitioning from a delt row, pushing out an eccentric on the anterior delt. This delt row will penetrate that lateral delt. I will transition pushing out into that interior and bring it down on the eccentric and rinse and repeat, going back and forth. And sometimes a number of reps will depend on how the muscle is burning, especially if I'm trying to pick up symmetry. On my left side, I may tend to switch back over and hit a little bit more on my left side or my right side, depending on maybe on what the DEXA scan showed or what I visually see, just trying to help work out some of that symmetry. I will not forget to do the posterior delt. In this day, I had already worked the posterior delt heavy. I will go and do some traditional posterior delt rear flies, bent over flies, just to isolate that posterior delt that people often forget quite often. It looks pretty bad. And then from here, I walk off camera and basically finish off with pull-ups. Like I said, this was a back chest feeder day that I had. So I finished this finisher off while doing some pull-ups. And my pull-ups on the eccentric, I'm about 2 to 3 seconds on the eccentric drop and pulling up nice moderately. I'd say 1 second, no isometric hold at the top, I believe, on this one. Sometime I do an isometric 1 second hold at the top. And that is what I do for a finisher. That can get quite intensified. I only showed you one set there. I will do 3 sets of that. All right. So I will do 3 sets of that completely, a whole set ending with the pull-ups. And then I will wait about a good minute for recovery. And I will go and do that again. And then once more for the 3rd set to encompass all of that. So that is one of my finishers. This was not going to be a long video. I just wanted to share some of the things I do to try to improve what would be called a glamour muscle. The delts are a glamour muscle. Please remember that the delts are 3 individual smaller muscle groups working together when they're called upon. You have the anterior delt, the lateral delt, posterior delt. So excessively heavy loads could damage you, especially if your form's not correct. You can't manage the load correctly. You'll be putting yourself in quite a bit of the pickle. Also, I do not practice doing behind the head movements. I believe that the risk is not worth the reward there. I can penetrate the lateral, the anterior, and the posterior delt through other moves that will not lend me into having injury or over time deteriorate my scapula or any of that other stuff that could happen. Because this, even if you take your elbow and put it across that frontal plane pointing backwards, you can feel the stress in that joint area. It's not comfortable. A lot of people, that's what they complain about when they first try it, for a reason. So I don't believe it's worth it. I believe there are other moves that I could do that don't put me in that situation, and I have yet to have a problem. I know people do them and people believe in them. Hey, if you've done them thus far and you happen to be doing them correctly, which is the most important thing, the form and ability to function in that movement without risking injury, cool. It's just something that I don't do. So that's one of my finishers. No big debate. I hope that you try this out, and definitely if you do try it out, let me know what you thought about it. If you think there's some things that could be done to improve upon it, I'm up to that too. I'm always open-minded. That's what we're here for, okay? So it's in the morning. I got to go check client protocols. Like I said, if you need online coaching, go to www.thatguyhealth.com. I will get you started. We'll reach your goals. Typically I have clients within the first 4 weeks dropping 10 pounds of fat. We have many different ways that can be accomplished. All depends on what you want to do, all right? I'm out of here. Like I always say, peace, be safe. Let's build together.